Hi everyone, hope you're all keeping well. In this video I thought I'd give you guys an overview of the Canada Post shipping rates API. So if you guys need to get live shipping rates for your website, this video will explain how you can do that. So for all of you Canadians out there that are watching this video, I think you're going to find it very beneficial. And for all the developers out there that are not in Canada, you might still find this video beneficial. I will be covering a little bit of JavaScript and some PHP code. I'm not going to actually be coding anything. I'm just going to be explaining the code that I've already constructed or that I've already coded, and just going to give a brief explanation of how everything works. All right. So first thing you're going to want to do, actually, let me just give you guys a quick demo here of what I'm going to be showing you guys. So this is the form that I created for a client of mine in 2023. So basically, it's just a simple checkout form. The purpose of the form was to get customers to purchase specific t-shirts, right? So we got 3 different t-shirt designs here, and then the customer enters all of their information, first name, last name, and then mailing address and email. There's also some additional fields here. They can upload a custom logo if they want, but I'm not going to be covering that. And then here, customers can select the shirt sizes that they want in different configurations. All right, so then from here they hit place order. That takes them to an order summary page where the customer can review all of the information that they entered. And then from here they can get shipping rates. Okay, so you'll see here that we made a call to the Canada Post API in order to get live shipping rates. And then from here the customer can select a particular shipping rate or shipping service. In this case, I'm just going to select expedited parcel, and then you'll notice down here below all of the pricing gets updated based on whichever shipping rate was selected. And then from here the customer can press confirm order, which processes the order and then redirects them to a Stripe checkout. Okay, and then from here they can insert their credit card information, place the order, and then that will redirect them back to the order form. But for this demo, I'm just going to cancel out of this. Right, it's going to take me to a cancellation page, and yeah, that's it. So, so that's pretty much the front end. And now I'm just going to dive into the back end. Actually, sorry, before I do that, I'm just going to show you guys the Canada Post website real quick here. So I'm just going to go back. I'll go back one page. Go back again. Okay, so the first thing you guys are actually going to want to do is you are going to want to register a business account through the Canada Post website. They have 2 different types of accounts. They have a personal and they have a business. You're going to have to register a business account because you need to get a company number. So once you register your business account and it gets approved, when you log into your account, you're going to be on your dashboard. You're going to see your API keys. The API keys are required in order to get the shipping rates API to work correctly. Here I just blurred mine out so you guys don't see my particular credentials. And then from here, if you click under service directory under rating and you scroll down a bit and then go to get rates. So here you can see the get rates API. They have information here that you can reference. So we're just going to click on the REST API. Right, so this is the get rates REST API that we're working with. Code samples for rating. They even give you some code samples here that I think you can quickly jump to. So PHP. Oh, actually, it's actually a download file. Okay, so they do have some sample codes here, I guess, you can download and work with. But if you scroll down the page, all the way down the page, you'll see here that this is the XML request that you're going to need in order to get the shipping rates API to work. So this is pretty much all I'm going to be working with. I'm not sure what the rest of this code is. I haven't worked with it, but I suspect that it's maybe just some additional features. But for this demonstration, we're just going to be working with this particular code right here. Let me just zoom in here a little bit, get a little bit of a better look at that. All right, so this is our XML structure that we're going to need. All right, so now we're going to jump into the backend. I'm going to be giving you guys an overview of the JavaScript that I set up and also the PHP file. Okay guys, so here we are. I currently have the PHP code here on the screen. Let me just go ahead and make this a little bit larger. That's large enough. Okay, so if you recall, just a second ago, we were looking at that XML code on the Canada Post website. So I'm just going to scroll down here quickly. I'm just going to show you where that code is located here in my code. So here you'll see that I created an XML code block. So here we have that XML code, and you'll see here that we have some data that we're passing into it. And this is all data that's required in order to get this XML response to work correctly. All right. So let me just scroll up here a little bit. So here, I'm actually working within the WordPress framework, and this is a custom PHP function that I created. It's called get CA shipping rates callback. So this is the callback that we're executing through JavaScript. So what we're doing through JavaScript is that if you notice here, I have a function in JavaScript called get shipping rates. And within this method, I have a post data object that I created. And within the post data object, I have an action. So this is the action that needs to be defined in order to get this PHP function to execute or to communicate between JavaScript and PHP. Right, and then I'm also passing in some additional data. So this is data that was collected through the form. I'm getting my postal code, I'm getting my shirt collections, right? And then this post data object is being passed to an async function, which is sending the data to WordPress, and then it's awaiting a response. So when WordPress is done processing all of this data, it sends a response back to JavaScript, and then here I just process that data, right? So this is just a custom function that I created. It's kind of like a global method called fetch data. So quickly show you guys that. So this is just a code block that I have inside of a module, and basically what I'm doing here is I'm just passing in the data and a URL endpoint, and then I'm doing an await fetch, which is sending the data to WordPress, and then it's waiting for a response. And then once I get that response, I return it back. It gets returned back to this function here, where I then listen for the callback or for an error, right? So we're using then and catch. So then is going to capture that data here. Catch is going to catch any errors that are returned from this method. Okay, so once that's done, I get the data that I need. I call another function called show shipping rates, and then here, this is where I show the shipping data on the front end, where we had the selection of the services or of the shipping services. If you recall earlier in the video, it was showing 4 options: expedited service, regular parcel, standard parcel, I believe, and then one other one, right? So the most important code here that we need to look at is the PHP code, because this is where we're actually sending the response or sending the data to Canada Post, and then we're awaiting a response. So this top part of the code here isn't really important. This is just code that I needed for my particular project in order to get this to work correctly. So you'll notice here that I'm capturing the postal code and the shirt collections that were being passed from JavaScript. So these are actually being sent in as it's being sent through using the post data method. Not the get, we're using post here. That's why I'm using post. I'm using post, and I'm checking to see if the postal code is set, and along with the adult shirt collections and youth shirt collections. So then basically I'm just parsing through the data. I'm getting the total shirt quantity, and then the quantity is going to be used to determine the weight that we need for the order, which I'm doing here. So in my case, the weight of a single t-shirt is 0.17 kilograms, and then I'm just multiplying that by the shirt quantity. And then after that, I'm just checking to see what package size I need for my order. So for my particular project, these were the package sizes that I was working with. So these sizes were given to me by my client. Right, and then I'm just checking the quantities, and then just determining which package size I need, and then that data is getting stored into a separate variable called package dimensions pieces, which is going to get exploded, and then this data is going to get passed into the XML object. So the most important code here that we need to work with is the actual XML response that we took from the Canada Post website. So again, here's that XML code block, right? But just before that, I'm actually doing all of the Canada Post configuration. So I'm setting up the environment. In this case, it's a sandbox. I have my customer number, I have my username and my password. All right, so this is what your username and password combination is going to look like. That's what you see on your Canada Post dashboard when you log in. So if you recall earlier in the video, on my dashboard I had it blurred out, but on your dashboard you're going to see the numbers just fine. So this is pretty much what they look like, right? And then we also need to get the service URL. So this URL is required in order to get the rates shipping API to work correctly. And then we need to define the origin postal code, right? So in this case, I'm just applying my personal home address here, and then the destination postal code, which we get from the form. That's where the order is going to be sent to. So the postal code is important. We need to capture that in the front end. And then we also have customer number. The customer number, we need to insert that here. We need to insert the weight of the order, and then we also need to enter the package dimensions, right? So we need the length, width, and the height. Origin postal code, again, we define that up here, and the destination postal code. So once you have all of this data defined and inserted into the XML code block here, then we can move on and use curl init. And we can use curl to send this request to Canada Post, right? So here's the configuration for the curl. I'm not going to go through this line by line, but we are inserting some of the data that we already had defined up here into some of these curl methods. So we have a service URL which we need for the curl init. So that's where the data is going to be sent to. And then we have our XML request object, which we created here. And then we have our username and our password, which is our Canada Post username and password, right? And then we execute our actual curl response. So here we do a curl execution. And then we check to see if we have any errors from the curl response. And if we do, we throw a new exception. If not, we continue on with the code. So everything's fine with the curl request. Then we continue and we process that XML request that we got back. We parse it through simple XML. All right, so we use simple XML to parse the XML response, right? So we check here. If we don't have an XML response, we'll throw another exception. In this case, I just put XML parsing failed. But if we do have data to work with, then we parse through that XML data. We get the rates array. So this is all data that's being sent back from Canada Post. So in this case here, we have the service, right? So the service name. So that would be like regular parcel, or regular parcel or expedited parcel, so on and so forth. And then along with the price, right? So we get the price details here. So we loop through that XML. We store all of that data into this rates array that I created, and then all of this data gets sent back to JavaScript, right? And then so you'll notice here that I'm just doing a JSON encode. I'm just going to echo that out, do a JSON encode. We have a status here of success, which I'm not really using, but I just like adding that in there into my JSON encode in case I need to see what the status is of the response. And then we have the rates, right? We're sending the rates array back to JavaScript. And then in JavaScript, we're getting that data here, data.rates, and we're passing it into a method called showShippingRates. And again, this is the data that gets populated and output on the front end, so customers can see the options that they have for shipping. And that's pretty much it, and that's pretty much how this all works, right? So the key takeaway here is to determine the data that you need to populate here in this XML object, right? So for my particular use case, I had to, get the quantity, I had to get the weight, and then I had to get the package sizes. So I'm not sure if the package sizes are required. I think the weight is. Yeah, so I think the weight is a requirement. I'm not sure about the dimensions of the package, but I think it's probably better to have the dimensions in there just in case, so you get more accurate pricing. Yeah. So again, guys, so this is the most important part of the code here. It's actually pretty easy to get this to work. I mean, once you're able to get, figure out all this data here, get your customer number in there, your origin and your destination postal code, your weight and your package dimensions, then it's just a matter of getting this XML request, sending it through curl, which sends it to Canada Post, and then Canada Post sends back a response, which you're able to capture. And that's it, and then you get back your data here in this XML object. Okay guys, so that pretty much concludes this video. I hope you guys found it useful. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And also, I will be posting this code very soon on my website at digitalodyssey.ca. I will have the link to my website down below in the description area. And that's it. So thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.